Hello, everybody. Long time no chat. Um, I know you were probably expecting the next day or next episode of Scarlet Hollow, but I have been through the ringer and I kind of want to talk about it. Um, so I know I mentioned before that I have a monthly subscription to give me more iCloud storage, because apparently iCloud storage is very important for having an Apple computer. Which is, debatable, but from everything I've been able to research, it does look like that's the case. So anyway, I've had some issues with Apple in the past, and but like I think I mentioned at one point, being leveled up basically to the next level of they have like different packages. One's like $2.99, and that's when I had. And then like all of a sudden one day I had a little notification pop up, and I don't remember where it came from, but it had me from Apple, and it was basically saying your amount, your stuff that you have on your MacBook is more than the amount of storage you have. So they bumped me up to the next level. Still had to pay for it though. And like the difference is, like the one I have been using was only $2.99. And then the one I'm currently on is like $8.99. And that's a lot more expensive. Well, this earlier this month, I usually around the 5th of the month is when the money comes out. Well, I spent a little too much, or didn't have enough money in my account, so I was surprised. I completely forgot. I was surprised one day when I logged on and found that I had been charged for, and from what I could see, my bank, well, what I did was I went to log on to my bank account, because I don't remember what I was planning on doing, but I was just checking my bank balance and being like, maybe I can run across the street, get a couple of snacks or whatever. And then it was like, and then I realized that they had apparently tried to charge me 2 times for for my subscription. And so I was basically panicked. Thankfully, it was during the time where Keith had the day off, so he was sitting right next to me. So I was like, "Hey, honey, can I get some money?" Explained the situation, and he was like, was like, yeah, whatever, I'll give it to you. And so I got the money and went into the normal place where you can go to, pay your bill, and I paid it. Well, and like I said, I don't know if this part was me making a mistake or if someone at Apple saw the two charges and thought, oh, we're gonna, oh, she's paying for two accounts. Well, and the other thing is, like I said, I have, my MacBook and my phone are tied together because I have technically two Apple IDs, one associated with my phone, one associated with my laptop. So I was like, oh, okay, So apparently they either Apple charged me twice or I accidentally did, because it's weird, because I got an email saying new, it didn't say new subscription, it said new sign in for blah 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 blah, and so I didn't know what that meant, so I was like, okay, let me see what's going on. So, I tried calling, I went in, I did because I don't like talking to people on the phone. I feel stupid. Let's put it that way. I feel like, especially if it's somebody who's trying to tell me, okay, now click here and now do this and everything. And I was just like, so the first time I went on and I was in the chat function and it went fine. The person who was helping me out was trying to help me, to the best of their ability and stuff. And and they were but the last thing that they said to me was something about, oh, it shows you pay for both accounts. But the weird thing is, because you can go to apple.com, you can log into your account and you can view your purchase history, and it only showed one payment being taken out. So I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. What? Because it should be connected. And so, I don't know. I still think somebody at Apple probably made a mistake, clicked the wrong button, or saw my two accounts and, was like, oh, she's paying for both and not just one. So I was like, okay. So that was the last thing that they said to me on the chat. And then I tried talking to a different person. They were like, oh, you have to be on the phone with somebody in order to, because we have to verify you are who you say you are. And I'm like, okay, And like I said, I kind of chickened out because, like I said, I don't like talking to people on the phone. I mean, texting and, using WhatsApp and stuff is perfectly fine. I have no problem with that, but the actual talking on the phone, being on hold, that kind of thing. And then trying to do that. I do much better when I have somebody like here with me visually who can be like, okay, now click here, now click here. Well, thankfully, so I went to the bank thinking maybe it was a bank issue since the bank showed two payments going out. And so I went and talked to somebody there, and they were like, no, you have to go back and talk to Apple. We can't do anything unless you come in, and it's after a certain period of time. You have to show proof that you legitimately tried to get your money back that way. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Whatever. No big. And so I kind of put it to the back of my brain. And then today I was like, I don't know. I was doing other things. I've been doing some job hunting. Matter of fact, I applied to my first job. There's a place called Savers here, and apparently it's not too terribly far away from where we live. And so I was like, so they had like an online, thing, and I was like, oh, okay, check it out, see what it is. And like, it was interesting because most retail stuff, they kind of pretty up the name of whatever, like customer service associate or bookseller if you're working in a bookstore. And they try to make it sound a bit more, I don't know if niche is the right word, but they kind of try to make it sound a bit more fancy. But this one just said sale assistant. And I was like, and so I read through what the job was, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And they have a place where you can apply online. You can upload your, they call it CV instead of resume. And, and so I was like, oh, that's really kind of interesting. And so went through all that, signed up. I'm on their website, so apparently I can just go onto the website and click, and I'm assuming that if they want to get a hold of me, they will. I give them my email address and my phone number, so I'm assuming that if they want to get a hold of me, that they'll do that either through email or hopefully calling. And I know that sounds weird considering I don't like being on the phone, but it's like, if someone's calling me, it's a bit different, but it's like, I don't like calling other people. And like, I don't like calling tech support because, like I said, it's a lot of, click here and do this, and can I have you send me a screenshot? And I'm like, I don't know how to do that, It's like there's so many things on this laptop I still don't know how to do. And like, I'm learning, and that's fantastic, and that's great, but at the same time, it's kind of a bit of a frustrating situation. But yeah, so, and finally I gotten done with my, application, and I was kind of sitting here and going, well, what do I do, And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to try again with Apple. I'm going to see if I can get the situation resolved. So I had two people help me. One person through the chat, because that's where I started. And then this person, I don't know if it was a man or woman. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, they were very nice, and they were like, you know what? Let's get you a call back, and so they were like gonna be like, I'll pull up some times, and you can pick the one that works for you, and then you'll get a call back about that time. And then, like, a couple seconds later, it was like, actually, are you free to be on the call now? And I was like, yeah, sure. So she closed. I assume it was a she. Like I said, not 100% sure. So they closed the chat. And then I got a phone call, and that person was like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna send you a notification. And we figured out how to get it, because he was gonna try to send it to my phone at first, and I was like, can we do it on my computer? Since that's what I have in front of me, and that's what I kind of am a bit more familiar with as to how to do that stuff. And so he was like, yeah, And so he popped up a little notification, so-and-so would like to share your screen, and, And, like, it was funny, it was like a big red arrow. And it was like, click on here, and then click on this, and he took me through the whole thing, and we figured out that first person that I talked to in chat was right, that somehow, whether through Maya or through somebody at Apple, and like I said, I don't know. I don't know. I'm willing to accept that it might have been me, that might have accidentally clicked the wrong thing, but I think I just did what I was supposed to do. So, but anyway, it doesn't really matter, although, keep that in the back of my mind for, like, later on. But then I was like, well, hang on, And so it turns out that somewhere along the way, a double charge, I have been charged for both my phone and my laptop. But the problem is that they're supposed to be combined. So I told him that. I was like, well, they're supposed to be combined. I had issues when I first moved here, and I had somebody help me out, and they were like, yeah, you need to, you need to do it this way. You need to combine both your accounts so you can get on either one of them. And so he was like, oh, that's easy. And so then he just went through and said, yeah, you probably just need to, he took me through and showed me how to combine the two accounts, which I thought I had done already, but I don't know, maybe it got undone over in the past, I don't know. But then he was like, and now what you want to do, and I'll walk you through this, is you need to go and get a refund for your double charge. And so he took me through that, and he was like, bum, 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 and he took care of me, and it was awesome. It was great. I give except for the first one, who I think didn't really get the situation, but the two I talked to today, I give them huge props, because they did an exceptionally good job at figuring out things, and ask me questions and stuff like that. And so they were like, yeah. And, he talked me through it. He said, it should take about 30 to about 40 some hours, and you'll get a email back, or message back, and they'll say whether or not the refund went through, and it should go through and everything. And so I was like, okay, that's fantastic, And, it was very, I felt bad because when I was on with the chat today, when I started out on the chat, I was, they always show, and they're like, hey, I hope you're having a great day. Let me know if I can, let me see how we can help you. And, they said hello, and I didn't say hello back right away. And I was like, sorry about that, And again, like, I've been trained since I was a very little girl to be polite to other people and to, be kind and everything. So I felt bad that I didn't say hello. But by that point, I was like, what is going on? Why am I not able to get this figured out? And so, but anyway, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I should be getting a refund, which will add $8.99 to my account, which will help me out, especially with next month, and everything. Hopefully, that'll come in, and then a couple days later, the payment will come out, and hopefully, if not, I can, probably get Keith to slip a little extra into my account just to help me out for that. But yeah, and then I was also talking because I kind of got this idea in my head, this bee in my bonnet, as they used to say, that was like, make me want it, because I still have, I remember telling you guys that, that made me basically insisted that I take his old HP laptop with me. I haven't been able to use it. We went to try and get it sold, or Keith went to try and get it sold, and it won't hold a charge. But it's like I still have the laptop, and so it was like, wonder if I could transfer. Like, I don't think I can do it within 4 weeks or 3.5 weeks, however long I have now, between now and May 5th, which is when the next payment should come out. But, yeah, so I was like, so I was talking with Ash, our friend who is our D&D Dungeon Master, and he's very good with computers. Matter of fact, on one of the times we were going to go over to his place, he couldn't come pick us up at our place. We had to walk down Queen Street, which is the main road out here, and meet him at a coffee shop because his computer went, died on him. And so we had to get a new computer, but he had to So he's doing that at a little coffee shop that's up the road. And so we were like, oh, yeah, so we'll just walk up there and meet him. And then when he's done, we can go on to the story. Anyway, so I was talking to Ash, and Ash was like answering my question and stuff. Although I didn't tell him everything, didn't tell him all of the stuff, but basically just asked him, would I be able to transfer files and stuff that I have over on this computer over to a Windows computer? And he was like, well, we'll see what we can do next time you come over. We're not meeting tomorrow because everybody over there has been getting sick. And so we had to wait for at least a week and stuff. And so, but that's good. That'll give me time to talk to Keith, and I can get some ideas, because I don't want to give up my MacBook. I really like my MacBook, but at the same time, it's like, like, part of me is just like maybe it would be easier to just have a Windows laptop versus an Apple laptop. And again, I don't know. If you guys have opinions on this, or if you guys have switched computers before from... I keep saying that word, and Alexa goes off, because that's what she's programmed to respond to. It's kind of a Star Trek thing. I think with Keith, he kind of programmed her to be like, the thing that controlled the Enterprise in Star Trek. And so, and like I said, it's not a big deal. It's not something that's huge, but it's just something that I'm toying with, kind of in the back of my mind. Like, I'm not sure if it would make sense. And the only problem is I don't know if I'd be able to transfer the games I have over to or if I'd have to either repurchase them or possibly talk to Steam and see if I can get transferred some other way. I don't know. Again, something I'm not aware of, something I don't know. And so I'm just kind of like, anyway, but yeah, so that's what I've been up to. It's been an interesting week so far. Thankfully, it's almost over, and yeah, Keith will be home about 4-ish this time, and we're not going to Ash Snicky's, because apparently multiple people are sick or can't make it or whatever. And so, maybe Keith and I will end up doing something, or at least I can talk to him and I can be like, I can present the options, because sometimes it helps just talk it out with somebody, to just be like, you think? Keith's pretty easygoing. He's very much like, he leaves this lot of stuff up to me, which I appreciate on the one hand, but on the other hand, I'm like, there's been a couple times where I've been like, I want your opinion on this. I want to know what you think I should do, you know. And it's like, it's great. You know, they leave stuff up to me. Most of the time, I have no problem with that, you know. It's up to me. Do I want to go out, go for a walk, go shopping,